Welcome to another episode of the Expert Digital AI Podcast, where we deep dive into articles, books, and blog posts by Rick Spair.
AI. It's everywhere these days, right? I mean, it's recommending our next online purchase, even trying to finish our sentences in emails, but predicting what'll hold up in court. Now, that's a whole other ballgame, isn't it? Today, we're diving into how AI is shaking up the legal world. Are robo-lawyers about to take the stand?
Well, about those robo-lawyers. Those might be a bit further down the line, but the real game changer is how AI is already changing things, even today.
Okay, I'm intrigued. So, no robot judges just yet, but what's AI doing for lawyers right now? What's all the buzz about?
Well, Rick Spair, a real veteran in the tech world, just put out this blog post that is everyone talking the rise of AI in legal, and he lays it all out really well. One of the biggest things he says is how much more efficient things could be. Like, imagine a lawyer, right? Being able to just clear their desk of all those tedious tasks that can really bog you down no matter how good you are.
Yeah, okay, I'm with you. What kind of tasks are we talking about here? I mean, surely lawyers have more important things to do than chase down signatures all day long.
Exactly. That's just it. We're talking about mountains of documents that need to be reviewed. Searching for specific clauses, digging up precedents buried in years of case law, even just the initial drafting of legal documents. Yeah. These are all things that AI, it turns out, can already handle way faster and, you could argue, even more accurately than us humans.
So no more all-nighters for those poor law students then?
You got it. Spair even uses this example in his post, talking about this incredibly complex merger agreement, tens of thousands of pages long. AI reviewed the whole thing in just a few hours. Not only that, but it even caught a critical clause that the human lawyers, the ones who originally wrote the thing, they'd completely missed it.
I'll be honest, that is kind of impressive, but also a little unnerving. The idea of an algorithm outperforming, well, a seasoned lawyer, even if it's just contract review, that's a little, I don't know.
Oh, I get it. I totally get it. But that's what makes Spair's argument so interesting. See, he's saying that by taking away these tedious, time-consuming tasks, AI actually frees up lawyers to focus on the things that we humans do best: strategy, connecting with clients, those moments of creative problem solving that can make or break a case.
So less time pushing paper and more time crafting winning arguments. Yeah, that part makes sense.
Exactly. And it goes beyond just managing time better. Think about it. AI can analyze huge amounts of data in seconds. That means legal research, which, let's be honest, can take forever, suddenly becomes faster and more thorough than we could have imagined.
It's like having a superpowered research assistant who can pull up any case, any precedent, any legal theory in the blink of an eye. I can see how that would change everything.
You got it. And Spair doesn't stop there. He even suggests that this kind of AI analysis, it could actually be used to predict the outcome of a case before it even goes to court.
Hold on, wait. So you're saying AI could tell you your chances of winning before you even step foot in a courtroom? That sounds almost too good to be true. I mean, that's exciting to think about, really, but is that even realistic? Are we really at the point where AI can, actually predict how a judge will rule?
Well, it's definitely a hot area of research, and Spair mentions a few companies already offering this kind of predictive analysis. But, the legal system, it's incredibly complex, right? There's just so many variables, so many things at play. So, no, I don't think AI will ever be able to, predict things perfectly, not with something like that.
Yeah, I mean, even with all the data in the world, you can't account for the human element. Judges, they're not robots, after all, right?
Exactly. And that brings up, I think, one of the most important things Spair talks about with AI and law, and that's transparency. Because when an algorithm's making predictions or, influencing actual legal decisions, we absolutely have to understand how it's getting to those conclusions. We can't just...
Right, we can't just blindly trust some, black box to make fair and impartial judgment. I mean, especially not with something as important as, the law, right?
I got it. Transparency is essential not just for accountability, which is obviously huge, but for actually building trust in these systems.
Yeah.
Because if we don't know how an AI is making a decision, then, how can we evaluate if it's actually being fair, if it's not harboring some kind of bias that we're not seeing?
Okay, so transparency is key, absolutely. But how do we actually do that? Are we asking coders to, crack open the algorithm and explain every single line of code?
Well, it's complicated, that's for sure. But Spair points to some interesting approaches. One idea is to develop AI systems that can actually give us some explanation, some way to show their work, so to speak. Another is to establish really clear standards, guidelines from the get-go for AI development in the legal field. That way, these systems are built with transparency baked in from the very beginning.
So it's not just about the technology itself, but how it's created, how it's actually used. Kind of like we need the ethics alongside the algorithms.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's where we humans still, and probably always will, come in. We need lawyers, we need ethicists, policymakers, everyone working together to make sure that AI is used responsibly, ethically in the legal system. This isn't something that we can just leave up to chance.
This whole conversation makes me think about access to justice, something that's really important, right? We've talked about how AI can make lawyers more efficient, which is great. But what about the people who, I don't know, maybe they can't even afford legal representation in the first place? Can AI actually help make things more fair, more accessible for everyone?
That's a question Spair digs into quite a bit in his blog. And he does seem to think that AI has the potential to really improve access to justice, especially for people who've been kind of left behind by the current legal system,
Yeah, I can see that. Like AI-powered tools that could, I don't know, help streamline processes, maybe even make legal services more affordable in general.
Exactly. Think about like AI chatbots that could give basic legal guidance, information to people who can't afford a lawyer. Or online platforms using AI to take care of simple legal tasks, things like drafting wills or filing for divorce, making those kinds of things easier and cheaper to access.
Okay, those are good examples, but could this also lead to like a two-tiered system where people who can afford it get the high-powered AI lawyer and everyone else is left with a chatbot?
Oh, I see what you mean. That's definitely a valid concern, and Spair acknowledges that. He's not shying away from those potential downsides. He really stresses that as we bring AI into the legal field, we have to keep our eyes open to these kinds of disparities, and we have to work hard to prevent them.
It's almost like we're trying to solve an inequality problem with a tool that could potentially make it worse if we're not careful. So what's the solution then?
Spair seems to think a multi-pronged approach is the way to go. He's a big advocate for investing in public legal aid programs, the ones that can actually leverage AI technology to make high-quality legal services affordable for everyone. And he also talks about digital literacy programs, making sure people understand and can actually use these new technologies too.
So it all comes back to ensuring everyone has access, not just to the technology, but to the knowledge and the resources to use it effectively.
Exactly. And that means tech companies, legal professionals, policymakers. They all need to be on board with this, ensuring AI is used for good in the legal system, making things fairer, more efficient, and accessible to everyone. It's a big task, but with the right approach, I think it's possible.
Okay, so we've talked about the good things AI could do for law, the importance of transparency, and how we got to make sure everyone has access to these new tools. But what does this all look like in real life, Are there specific areas of law where AI is already making a real difference?
Absolutely. Spair spends a good chunk of his blog post diving into real-world applications of AI in law. One of the areas he focuses on is contract review, which we touched on earlier. It's being completely transformed by AI.
Right, we talked about how AI can go through those massive contracts in like a fraction of the time it takes a human.
Exactly. And it's not just about speed. Spair points to this study where AI was able to identify clauses that were missing in contracts with over 90% accuracy. That's way better than even experienced lawyers.
Wow, that's impressive. But contract review seems like a fairly straightforward application of AI. What about more complex areas of law, like criminal justice, intellectual property, stuff that's really important?
AI is moving into those areas too. It's getting more sophisticated all the time. In criminal justice, for instance, AI is being used to analyze risk factors and even help inform sentencing decisions. It's been a bit controversial, but Spair argues that if it's implemented carefully with human oversight, it could actually help reduce bias and make the whole system fair.
It's a little unsettling to think about algorithms playing a role in such weighty decisions.
Of course. And we should be really careful about this stuff. But think about it. Spair points to this study that found that judges were more likely to grant parole to defendants if they reviewed the case after they'd had a meal break.
Seriously? Just because they were less hungry? That's kind of terrifying when you think about it.
It shows that even the most well-meaning humans can be influenced by unconscious biases. Spair argues that AI, if it's built and used ethically, could actually help address these biases and make the whole system more fair for everyone.
Okay, I'm starting to see how AI could help level the playing field in some ways, but I imagine there's still a lot of challenges to overcome.
Absolutely. And Spair doesn't sugarcoat it. He emphasizes the need for ongoing research, solid ethical guidelines, and that constant back and forth between everyone involved to make sure AI is used responsibly in the legal system. He's pretty clear that it's not about replacing lawyers with algorithms, but rather empowering legal professionals with these tools to better serve their clients and build a more just, more equitable society.
It feels like we're at the start of a big shift in how the legal system operates. As someone who spent years studying technology and how it affects society, what's your take on all of this?
We're entering uncharted territory, for sure. AI, like any powerful technology, has the potential to do a lot of good, but also the potential to cause harm. The key is to approach this transformation with our eyes open, a real commitment to ethical considerations, and a deep understanding of the consequences, both the ones we intend and the ones that might surprise us. The future of law is being shaped right now, and it's up to all of us to ensure it's a future where technology serves justice, and not the other way around.
So what does this mean for you, our listener? Whether you're a legal professional, a tech enthusiast, or just someone who cares about the future of justice, Spair's insights offer a valuable roadmap for navigating the complex world of AI and the law. This is a conversation that's only just beginning, and it will undoubtedly shape the legal landscape for generations to come.